It's 2 weeks since Pastor Richard went with Pastor Nick to see Ajaola. He hadn't seen any changes in his finances, but a great change in his person that he had slightly regretted going, because somehow he knew he had started a journey that seemed endless. Lately, his wife had begun to itch over the strange tongues he spoke, but does he have a choice? That day, Ajaola had chewed a dark substance, and when he spewed it out, he gave him the same substance to chew and swallow. He knew that substance did not go down into his stomach, but hung somewhere in his throat. So, when he knelt down to pray, he found himself speaking a strange kind of tongue, the same kind of tongue that Ajaola and Nick spoke. One of the nights, he woke to pray. He was speaking in that tongue, and his wife, Shade, who had never raised his voice at him, began to complain. He felt irritated and didn't know when he slapped her. It felt like something else took over him, but at the end, he saw himself beating his wife. He cried like a baby after the incident, but that did not end because in the past 2 weeks, he had beaten her on 4 different occasions. Right now, he felt a shadow of himself. He felt a stranger to his wife and child. When he complained to Nick on the second occasion, Nick shook his hand vigorously, congratulating him and welcoming him to the club of big men. Services these days in his church were devoid of God's presence. He knew, but he couldn't help it. His assistant pastor, Pastor Kingsley, had shared 3 revelations he had had. On all 3 revelations, he had seen a being taking over the church. The being was aggressive. When Pastor Kingsley shared the revelation, Pastor Richard understood quite well. He knew he had signed a deal with the devil, but was there a road back? He watered down the intensity of the revelation by casual and insincere prayers. Then, one Sunday, as Pastor Richard ministered to his congregation, he saw the shadow of a man walking into the church. The shadow was nothing short of Ajaola. He knew he only could say it. The shadow walked up to the front pew and poured a dark substance on a little boy of 6 years. Immediately, blood began to stream from the boy's eyes, yet he only could see it. The boy and his parents were oblivious of what happened. The next morning, he got a call that the boy died the previous night. He was terrified. He knew the death had something to do with what had happened the previous day in church. Yet, who could he tell or talk to? His relationship with his wife had been strained so badly that they lived as housemates instead of the lovers they were once. He lacked peace and he wished he could regain his peace. Truth be told, he could give out all riches of the world to abort the restlessness he felt. It was something close to death. While he shuddered at this, he got another call that he had been invited to minister in the biggest Christian program happening in a 4th week with a huge sum of money and all expenses covered.